What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the TLZ podcast. Before we get started, make sure you click the like button and the subscribe button down below. And also make sure you turn on your notification bell so you get notified every time we post new content on the channel. Also, I just created a Facebook group called Smash Bar for our new company that I'm starting. It is an energy bar company that makes energy bars specifically for badminton players and badminton enthusiasts. If you ever felt exhausted between back-to-back games or during a long day of training or even playing a long night of open gym, this is for you. We have not started manufacturing yet, but I thought it would be a great idea to have everyone join me on this journey. The cool thing about Smash Bar is that when it does launch, we want to use a portion of our profits to create a scholarship fund for rising badminton players after they graduate from high school. For example, this scholarship will be available to coming up star athletes like the one we have on the podcast today. All they have to do is apply and show that they have potential to be a top player in the world. So if you're interested and want to jump on this journey with me, I have attached a link for our Facebook group down below. All right. So now let's get into the podcast. Today, I'm really excited to do this podcast with this player. He's a 10-time junior national champion, as well as a 9-time Junior PanAm Gold Medalist. And in addition, many people think he will be the Brian Yang for USA. Let's welcome to the podcast, Ryan Ma. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tony.
I mean, you're you guys. Of course. And I haven't seen you in person for a long time. I think the last time I saw you was like some tournament like a few years back, right?
Yeah. I remember playing you in some, I think, charity match. And that was
really?
Like the last time I saw you. Yeah.
Really?
It was at CBA, I believe. Yeah.
Dang, that must have been a long time ago. You know, now it's funny that you mentioned that because I was thinking today before we started the podcast, I was like, man, I wish we were the same age so we could have played against each other or played together. It would have been really fun. But anyway, you know, you've been a champion your whole life since U9, right? Like even from the first tournament you played. So the first question I want to ask you is, you know, when and how did you start playing badminton?
So I really started actually like practicing and training at 6, and my first club was CBA. I got into it when I was 3 actually, and the story behind it is kind of funny. I think so I was 3 at my aunt's house back in China in Chongqing, and they had this like really cool feathered bird, right? And like stored away in like the back of the closet. And I was like a really like, I guess, kind of messing like around type of kid back then. So like I would always like flip these things out. And then I found the racket as well. And then I thought it was really cool. So then and like the feathered bird was like really old as well. So then we would play it all the time on like the driveway. And then that's how I really got into it. Like I would hold the racket with 2 hands, I think. Because it was too heavy. It was way too heavy for me to hold with 1 hand. Right. So that's how I got started. And then training was starting at 6. My first ever tournament was when I was 8, and yeah, just took off from there.
Wow, great. And we're gonna actually talk about that first tournament in a little bit. But I was wondering, you know, I think there's a big difference between, you know, a player who actually likes the sport compared to another player who just trains for, you know, like treating it like, you know, something that they have to do, right? Why do you like badminton, like playing badminton so much, and how does that impact your attitude during training?
I think for me, I actually really like playing the sport because not only like as of right now, I really like it because of its strategy and like all the things that goes behind actually just holding a racket and like hitting it. When I was young, I really liked it because of how creative you could be with the racket. Like, I know everyone likes doing trick shots and all that. I know for me, I like to just like come up with my own, I guess. You know, put some like 2 and 2, get 2 and 2 movements together, and then I just play around with that like during training. And I think that really made me enjoy going to training actually, and like it actually made it fun, and like it was like kind of like a relaxing part of my day, I guess, compared to like all the stress that goes on with other stuff like academics or even like family, all that. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, so I think it definitely impacts the way you train, right? You enjoy a lot more, and it just automatically is like you're focused, right? Without even needing to like tell yourself, you know, oh, I need to focus today and I need to work hard, right? So what would like a typical training day in Ryan's life look like?
Typical training day. So I think I'd wake up, and honestly, depending on how I'm feeling that day, I'd either run or not run. And then training would usually be like 3 hours in the afternoon ish, for this summer at least, for this summer. And then after training, if usually like if there's a tournament right after like JN, I'd honestly go to the gym right after like 8 to like 9. And then that would either be like leg day, arm day, whatever's I scheduled. But yeah, and like in total, I remember like some days I'd train for like uh 5 hours, but these are like really rare because like I'm like pretty busy with like school and all that, as well as like college apps, so I don't have that much time to like train by myself. Also, it's like really hard to like motivate yourself to train.
Yeah.
Like some days, like yeah, like if you had like a hard training day before, like if it was like really physical intense yesterday, it's really hard to bring yourself to do it all over again the next day. And like sometimes I have like that problem, and I just kind of skip out on some days. So yeah.
I see. I mean, I think that's really cool that you mentioned that, because it just shows that you're still normal, like all of us. When we're tired, we don't feel like going to training. Like there's those players who's like, man, even when we're tired, we're going in there and putting the work, which is great, but it also shows just how, you're a normal kid too. And you have times when you're tired, and, sometimes you just got to push yourself to do it. Right. And, I also heard you mention that like you went to training like 8 to 9 to the gym after a tournament. Like that's your usual.
After a tournament. No. It's before. It's like training would be like
Before.
4 to 7, or like for this summer. Training would be like 4 to 7, and then some days, if I feel like it wasn't enough, then I'd like go train myself. And then even before that, I'd sometimes run. But like it would be really rare if I did 2 on the same day. Because
I
like that's
see.
a lot. So yeah.
I see. What do you normally do when you train by yourself?
Um, for me, it's usually weights because I need a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's either weights or it's endurance, which is like running basically. And like if I run, I'll usually like run for like 40 to 1 hour, 40 minutes to 1 hour. And then for weights, it's mostly like heavy weights, like squats, deadlifts, even bench presses if I'm like doing arm day. And that usually lasts about an hour. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Nice. And I after interviewing so many people and also like knowing so many different players and training with so many different players, I realized one thing that every champion has in common, and that's that they always put in work by themselves. Like everybody
definitely.
I know, like you and Derek, because I train with Derek, I know he puts in work at home by himself. I know like who else? Well, I know Ricky, my brother, he puts in a lot of work morning and night, for tournaments, and every single champion puts in work, by themselves. They're in the gym by themselves, whether it's weights, footwork, hitting against the wall, doing your swings, these things that you can practice yourself. So for young players that are watching this, if you really want to do well in the sport and really go above and beyond everybody else in your age group, you got to put in the work like by yourself when you're alone, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think actually I only like realized like the importance of doing that when I was during the COVID year, especially because like during COVID you didn't have much training at all, and like everything you had to just do by yourself, and then like that just became kind of routine for me. Also, the other thing is like you have to know that everyone else is improving at like a very fast rate. So like if you're not doing anything to like keep up with that pace, then like you're just gonna get left behind. And if you're thinking about like international and competing with like let's say PanAms as well, those people are like training like almost 6 7 hours a day, right? And like if you can like even get close to that, then like it's really hard for you to play against them or even challenge them when you get older. Especially like right now it's okay because when you're young you don't need that much I guess you don't need that much like training. You just need to know like you just need to have skills and like good shot quality. Like when you're older, everyone has that, and at the end, it always comes down to like physical and whose physical is better, as well as who's like endurance and like because like technique is all the same when you're really old, right? So
yeah, I think especially in the higher level, the most important thing is like consistency. right? Who can hold out the long
100%. Yeah,
rallies, right? Yeah,
100%.
those are things that wins you games. And
Yeah,
talking about training, what do you like to do the most in training?
training. I actually find doing like multi shuttle like pretty fun. I think like compared to like drills and like all those other things, like
Mhm.
yes, I know they're important and like you have to do them repeatedly in order for like for it to come out during the game. I think for me, it's just like doing whatever kind of multi shuttle there is. Maybe it's like defense, like full court defense, or it's like full court offense. Since I feel like
Mhm.
it's more resemblance or like it resembles more of a game. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally feel what you're saying because whenever I did those like skills training, like those like full court like attack or like they're serving to you, like the coach is serving to you, right?
Yeah.
You feel really hype and you feel like you're in an actual game and you kind of get locked into that game mode during it, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. And you got your adrenaline rushing. Nice, good
Yeah. The
pick.
only yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, I'm just gonna say like the only
Yeah,
downside to it is that it's kind of tiring, especially like if you're
yeah,
hitting
it
like
is.
10
Yeah,
sets of 20 or something crazy like that.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
you. I feel you.
Yeah.
For sure. And talking about still focusing on the topic of training, besides like physical training and skills training, what mental training did you do to like reach the level of maturity and calmness during like your training and tournaments?
Mental training. So actually, I think everyone has this problem. When I was young, I used to have like the worst mental in the world. Like I would like literally break down after my foot got like 5 points in a row, and I didn't know what to do. But I think for mental training, everything comes with experience. I think as you grow older, you start to realize more and more things about your game, and like you just get like confidence from that. Like I remember used to I would be really bad at clears or like really bad at I guess hitting from the back because like I get power bullied a bunch when I was young, right? So for me, it was all about just being confident in my other skills, like being good at drops or like being good at speed, right? So like these types of things are like just things I gain confidence from, and then gradually over time you get more and more comfortable hitting those shots that you're uncomfortable with, and then that's how like I've been training my mental, I guess. The other part of it is that you kind of have to always not be afraid of like making a mistake, because I know like some players there's a difference between playing to win versus playing not to lose. So like if you're playing not to lose, you're not really going for anything, right? But like if you're playing to win, then you're actually taking those risks and like taking those chances where you can actually finish the rally. So I think it's just understanding these differences, and all of this comes with time. I think like I know some coaches are like, you should read this like book on like bring up your mentor, like you should um watch how this player plays, right? I've tried all of that. um the book reading does help a little bit, but I think for me, I've realized it just through playing like games,
Mm.
like getting more and more experience with it.
Yeah, that's really good advice, especially that one point that you made about like playing passive in a game. Like when you're playing not to lose, you kind of play passively, right?
Yeah.
And you're just playing defense, playing it safe, keeping the birds in, not taking the risky shot to end the rally, or like, you know what I mean? That I
Yeah.
completely agree with that. And that's really good advice for young players. And I definitely think that reading the book, there's many I know Derek, I think I talked with Derek on the podcast with it for this too. He actually read a book too, for mental, like to help you mentally, like as an athlete, right? And there's definitely a lot of really good books on those. And if players need it, it's a really good way to open your mind to how you should think on the court and how you should control your emotions, right? That's
Yeah.
all part of the game. That's all part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk about that first tournament that you mentioned a little bit a few minutes ago. What was playing your first tournament like? Because for most people, it's really scary, the first tournament. I know a lot of players, the first one, they're like, oh, I'm scared, I'm nervous. What was it like for you?
Uh, so my first tournament, honestly, didn't think of it as a tournament. I thought it was just like you just play against some other kids and like that's it. Like, I didn't even know the rules at the start. Like, you know how like you're supposed to like toss a coin and all that. I didn't understand it like that, nor to understand like you're supposed to wait until the person says love all play and all that. But for me, my first tournament was kind of, it was a bit eye-opening, I think, because at the time I thought I was pretty good at badminton as like as 8-year-old, right? And then I think in the second round I get big old by Sid. I get like 21 owed and like 21-2, and then I cry on the court. I remember also like I think I wanted to tear down the net or something, but I don't know. I was throwing a temper tantrum on that court.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that happened, and then actually what was crazy was that in doubles we somehow made it to finals. I don't know how that happened. I don't know. I don't have any recollection of that at all. But we got second place in doubles, and then I still have a really, I guess, funny picture of like my 8-year-old self holding like a doubles trophy from that
Yeah.
time. Well, yeah.
Dang.
For me, it was just like really fun. I think, other than the part where I cried, but other than else, that was pretty fun.
Man, that's so amazing for me because, for a kid to play his first tournament and be able to win a gold medal in the first tournament, I've known players who play their whole lives and not won a single gold medal, you know? And
Yeah, I only got second though. I wasn't like gold.
oh,
So
sorry, you got second. Yeah, my bad. But
yeah.
that's amazing. Like that you even made it to the finals. Like people, like a lot of athletes, players, they dream of that, and they never get there. So that's really cool. And you mentioned, because we talked earlier, you mentioned that there was a tournament in either it was 2015 or 2017 where you lost to Isaac Yang.
Yeah.
What happened and why did it stick with you?
What happened? So this was my like second year in, I think, U13, I believe. So I just come off like a year where I was like winning a lot, and I was kind of, I think I just underestimated Isaac a little bit going into that game. And so like props to him. He prepared really well. Coach Holby knew exactly what to do against me. I was pretty lost during that game. Like it all just became like a blur when I started losing.
Mhm.
And like was I 13? I think like I was I was like 13, right? So like I didn't really know what to do. Like maybe now I could think of like strategies to like change and maybe win that match. But at 13, I just let it happen, I guess.
Mhm.
And so he beat me in the third set like 16, I think. And then immediately I knew I was crying on the court. And then that's why like it stuck to me a lot, I think, because it was like my first major upset, I think, because before I always thought of myself as just like playing to like for my fun, right? Just like I play because I like to play. But like during that tournament, I feel like I had pressure after that match, or like I felt the pressure because I had like this like I guess image to hold as like the
Mm.
best U13 player, right? Stuff like that, right? So that definitely got to me, and then I just remember the day very clearly because I know I spent a long time like at home just like pretty sad, and then
Mhm.
I knew like after the tournaments after I felt really it felt really weird because in the tournaments after I started like losing a bunch, and that was like really I guess it hurt me in a way that like it made me doubt myself kind of.
Mm.
But honestly, I feel like that point, I mean that tournament where I lost to Isaac, that was like a good like reality check for me. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were on a roll, right? Winning and winning. That kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of what happened to Lean Dan too, because he had a year where he just lost like first round in every tournament,
Oh yeah, I
and
remember that. Mhm.
yeah, and that's really cool that it becomes a learning experience, you know, and yeah, I
Yeah.
that's a really good thing to have, and everyone has their own like first Pan Am story, right? What was your first Pan Am experience like?
My first penance. My first penance was back in U11, and I was in Tijuana, Mexico. Uh, I remember going into that PanAm's thinking that like I made it to like some international tournament. Like there's
Uh-huh.
people all over the world watching me. It's like I was pretty naive at the time, but I remember it was a pretty good experience. I think. During that tournament, I'm pretty sure. I think I won singles, doubles, and mix. But yeah, so like for me, I felt like it was really fun playing in this kind of tournament because you're so used to seeing US players all the time. Like it felt pretty interesting to see other U11 players from like other parts of the world, even though like it's only the PanAm region. So for me, I thought of it as just like another learning experience and like another tournament where I could just, I guess, make more friends, I think, because I got really close with this Brazilian kid. I don't know where he was anymore, but his last name was Santos, and I haven't seen him since, and it's making me really sad.
You don't have his Instagram or contact information? You guys
No,
didn't?
I didn't. So like so after that, PanAm's in U11, um, we traded shirts. Or I think we traded shirts. I don't know, but we were close. And that PanAm's and then the PanAm's after, and then he just stopped coming to PanAm's, and then I just like he just stopped coming. And like that was I really wanted to
Mm,
see him again this year, but he didn't come either. So yeah.
I see. I see. Wow, that's really cool because I think Pan Am is all about making new connections, besides just playing a tournament. Because I met so
Oh
many new
yeah, for
people
sure.
too,
Yeah.
and everybody has their own stories and how they started playing badminton, and everybody's have on different levels, and it's just really cool to meet people that have the same experiences as you. And after
Yeah.
that, let's get into like more recent events. When COVID hit, right, and the gyms were all closed and we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
Were you still training?
Like hitting a bird? No, obviously. But I remember Coach Charles, he did do like an online like Zoom kind of training thing. That was pretty fun. And it was like I think I honestly don't remember. Maybe it was like 3 times a week, but like we would just do like physical, I think. For like for around like an hour or so, maybe
Mhm.
like 30 minutes to an hour. And I guess that was like the only conditioning that I did during that time. Um, Other than that, everything else was closed. So I mostly tried to run as much as I could. But even that was hard because of like the COVID mandates as well as like how um, I have my own family to take care of and I shouldn't be risking myself getting COVID out there while running. So yeah, I think it was mostly just doing conditioning at home, doing like exercises like abs, could be like push-ups, sit-ups, even jump rope as well. So like
Mhm.
just like those little things. But
I
it
see.
wasn't
I
too
see.
much. Yeah.
I see. I mean, that just helps you maintain your body, right? Because
Yeah.
we were doing like a similar thing. We are still doing it. But we did a similar thing during COVID where, we did a Zoom class for physical for the ZBTC people. And yeah, and it basically helps. At that time, it was like helping them maintain their body and also improve their physical abilities during, when it was locked down. And the very first major tournament that came up after the lockdown was the 2021 Junior Nationals, right, in North Carolina.
Yeah.
How were you feeling going into that tournament? And did you know you were going to win first place?
Um, that's what was actually. So for me, I think I went to that tournament playing up because I really wanted to, I guess, like test my skills after like a full year of like not having any tournaments, like a full 1 year and a half. And I only started training, like actually training back in the gym in, I believe the March or no, it was yeah, I only started training like back in like September or October, I remember. Um, so like I had like all that time to prepare for JN, and so I really wanted to just like test myself out, and I had no expectations at all. I remember seeing the draw, and like second round I was playing like Joshua Yang or something, and like everyone knows like he's like top player in the U19, and I just thought like I could just give this my best shot and not go in with any pressure, and I think that's where I played the best in actually. So for me, that tournament was pretty much of like it was a surprise definitely to many other players as well as myself. And yeah, I think the most important part of it was that I didn't have any expectations, so I was able to
Mhm.
like fully relax when I play.
I see. And you played Don in the finals, right? Tell me about that. How was that? What
Oh,
was that
that
experience like? Because I think everybody has a little bit of a Don story when they play him.
honestly. So actually, I was the night before that finals game. I was telling my mom about like how this is probably impossible to play against because Don is like obviously his control is really good.
Yeah.
And I remember that gym had like a lot of wind and like it was really hard to play in it. So I didn't really feel confident myself at all. So actually when the game started, I was like losing. I was down like something like 11-4 and like it was like 17 like 9, I think. But yeah, that was first game, 17-9. And then I somehow came back from that. And then I won the game 21-17. So then from that point on, I just got like a lot of confidence in myself to actually win the match. And then in the second game, the flip side, like the opposite actually happened to me. I was up like 19-13, I want to say, like something like 18-12, something like that.
Mhm.
And then he caught up and then he got to like 21st. And then we just played deuce after that. And then at the very end, I remember him clearing out and then I won. And then that was like, it felt pretty. All I know, I remember was like I was feeling like really, really tired after that game. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to like celebrate or anything because like I just wanted to like sit down and like rest. But yeah, I
Uh-huh.
think playing
Uh-huh.
against him is like really, it's fun in that you get to play a lot of like long rallies and it's not like a boring game where like everyone's just like getting killed like one shot.
Mhm.
For him, like you actually have to think about a little bit of like where you're hitting, I think more compared to other players because like he's just really consistent and like
Yeah.
you have to focus on your rally speed as well in order to like move faster than him. And like you have to know like when to save your energy, when not to save your energy, and like
Hmm.
when to like try to finish. So yeah, it was more like it was a very interesting match, I think, in my opinion.
Wow. And wait, who did you play in the semis for that tournament? I forgot.
I played Andrew Wang.
Oh, then it
Yeah.
was Don because that I couldn't remember because I thought you might have played William, but I think Don played William. And then
Wait, no, William already graduated.
oh no, oh not William then. No, but okay, so what happened was after I saw the score, I told you this. I saw the score of because I was following along the nationals draws and I saw that you beat Don. And because Don's like technically in my generation, right? So I texted him, I texted Don, I was like, man, you embarrassing us out here losing the little kids. like like freaking like what are you doing? Like what happened? And because I didn't expect that. You know, I knew you were a good player, but I know Don too. Don's a good player, and I trust in his ability to win games. And I was very surprised, you know, to say the least. But I was really happy for you too to see that you were able to do that. But yeah, I texted him that, and it was pretty funny. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. And you know, after junior nationals, you played the 2022 Junior Pan Ams. Oh wait,
Yeah,
I skipped the
2021.
question. I skipped the
2021.
question. My bad.
Oh,
Talking about junior nationals. You mentioned in our conversation a few days ago that you know you actually fainted during this year's junior nationals. What happened?
right. Um, that was just from pure exhaustion, I think, because it's like finals day, I had to play 3 finals, and they were all 3 games, and they're all like pretty close as well. So I think one part, I think everyone should know this, but um, you should like really like even if you don't want to eat before a game, like you have to eat something, right? So that's where I made my mistake, and I didn't eat before the doubles final, so I was playing basically on an empty stomach almost, and then you get really tired after doing that, and like I just kind of collapsed from like being too tired, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So but to self, you should always eat something before a match.
Eat a smash
Always,
bar. When it comes out, eat a smash bar.
yeah, eat a
There you
smash
go.
bar.
There you go.
Yeah,
And oh man, that's crazy. I never heard anybody fainted before. I have had like cramps before a game when you're super
yeah,
tired, but I've never like fainted or I've never seen anybody faint, you know.
yeah, yeah. No,
That's
no. Like for, oh wait, yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead. What are you saying?
Okay. Oh no, for me especially, I think I don't know what's wrong with me or something, but when I am like playing like a finals or a close game, I like focus like a lot. Like every time after I play like a hard game, my mind just like shuts down almost. I just like want to go to sleep immediately. So like fainting is like kind of normal for me, a little bit, just a little bit normal. Like I've had that feeling before, so like I
Mm.
didn't really think of it as much, but like I didn't know I was like actually gonna collapse, but it was okay. I was pretty much fine after like 10 minutes. So yeah.
I see. You know, that's also the thing, because I've seen you play before, and I've seen you like in tournaments and stuff, but like we normally don't really talk because you're so like every time I see you, is your face is just like completely blank and like
Yeah.
and just completely serious. So I was like, I don't know, we don't really talk much because you know he's doing his own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like like it's just how it is for you, and it's good. It's almost like a Kobe like Mamba mentality, where when you're playing the game, you're completely just locked in and just not thinking about anything, you know. And I think a lot of players need that. You know, I think a lot of players should have that mentality to be able to play better, you know, because a lot of players deal with, you know, being distracted and not, you know, being in that tournament mode, you know, 100%. And yeah. So, you know, after this year's junior nationals, you played the 2022 Junior PanAms, which recently just ended. How did it feel to win the team event for the second time? How was it different from the last time?
Team event. Honestly, I think team event is probably like the best event in Junior PanAms. Yes, individual is fun, but I think for team, it's just like really different playing for something that's more than yourself, right? Like you're playing for your country and you're playing for like your other teammates on the team event. And when you have like everyone cheering for you in the team final, it like just like feels different, I think. And for this year compared to last year, I was the opening game for the team event final. This year I was the decider as well as like a singles match. So for this year, I think that I had a lot more responsibility compared to last year, because last year our roster was like pretty stacked, and Canada wasn't part of the team event last year. So I felt pretty comfortable going to those games knowing that we would most likely win against the other countries. For this year, it felt, I guess, a lot more pressure to be playing two games for the team event final. And I didn't do well in the singles game against Viktor. So like the mixed game, I felt like I had to redeem myself in like some kind of way, and like it was the decider as well. So I think winning that game made like winning the entire team event a lot better compared to last year. I think it was a better victory, a better win in my opinion compared to last year.
I see. And going into that finals for the team event, what was this like? Did the coaches discuss with you guys what the lineup was going to be and why it was going to be like that?
Yeah. Coach Andy we always have like team meetings before every single team match, and we always go over lineups. There's a lot based on player input as well as what Coach Andy thinks. So for that game specifically, we knew that Canada would most likely put Viktor in singles and mix. And we played Henry and Cody against Canada during the group event. So we didn't want to play them in mix again. So that's why Coach Andy wanted me to play mix in the very end. So yeah.
I see. Did you guys think about throwing the singles game to Viktor? Because like Viktor was really strong.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely did. We thought about that because like we knew that whoever plays against Viktor is gonna have like a really hard time and like probably not gonna win either way. But for me, like they gave me the final decision, like if I wanted to like play against Viktor or I just give it up and like let Aaron go play so I could go rest for like the mixed game. But in the end, I wanted to just to see like what the difference is between us. So like that's why I decided to play singles one.
Yeah, because you guys played 2 times, right? Once in the one before the finals, and then once during the finals. I was actually looking forward to you guys playing in the finals for the individuals, but then you know you lost to the Canadian in the I think it was semis or quarters. Quarters. Okay, we don't need to talk about that stuff.
Let's just forget that.
Let's just forget that. But I was wondering, what was your reaction when you to hearing like Andre and Andrew's interview on TLZ Media about them being underdogs, their confidence, and their strategy to attack Aaron?
Oh, okay. I thought it was like pretty surprising that she got on. But for me, it was just like I think it's like pretty common knowledge what they were talking about Um, they're definitely have like had the underdog mentality because obviously our track record is like heavily favored towards me. Um, but for me, I didn't really think much of it, and I just wanted to play my own game, right?
Mhm.
I know a lot of people think that when you play against me and Aaron, Aaron is obviously the singles player of the more of a singles player, and like they always target him. So I always know that it's always gonna happen, no matter which pair we play against.
Mhm.
So like it didn't really, I guess it didn't really affect me or like shock me that they're gonna say they're gonna target Aaron. So it's like at that time it was pretty common knowledge that was like he's the weaker doubles player
Mhm.
out of us two. So yeah.
Yeah. I see. Do you ever like feel like, for example, because you're always the top, right? And the people
Yeah.
who are playing you are usually underdogs. Do you ever feel like they always have a lot of confidence and you're in the back of your mind, you're like, I can't light his fire. If I give him like that spark during the game, it can get out of
Oh,
hand.
yeah. So before, like when I was U15, I think, I really had like a problem playing against younger players because um it was like really different playing against someone who like doesn't really, I guess like they don't really think that they can win. So like they play like really relaxed. And like I think when you play relaxed, that's when you play your best. Um so for me, I always had like that thought of uh like not getting them too hyped up in the start of the game. It's like I always try to go like really hard at the start, like get a good lead, and then that usually makes them like a little bit scared.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's always been my mentality. I think nowadays I treat everyone equal to me. I think,
Mhm.
and like that's really helped because like if you think that you're better than someone before a game, then like that first off that like, that's just kind of like arrogant. Second off, second off, it doesn't really help your game because like then throughout the whole entire game, you're just thinking, I'm better than this guy. Why am I losing this rally? And like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think of everyone as equal to essentially when I play against them,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
maybe from the outside it looks that I'm like a lot better, but
Mhm.
for me during the game, I always try just focus on myself, focus on my own game, and like think of my opponent as like playing against myself or like
Yeah.
playing against someone that is like equal in strength, like not to
Yeah.
like downplay on their skills or anything.
Mhm. That's really smart. I think any player going into a game, you should be thinking, I just want to play the best version of myself,
Yeah,
and and usually that will be good enough, right? And I really appreciate you pointing out how like playing younger players is actually really difficult, like the mental challenge. Because I got criticized so much when I was playing U15, U17, because they were like, why don't you play up? Like you win every game, every tournament, just play up. Like there's people playing up from your age group. Why don't you play up? And I'm like, this is really challenging. Like, it's not easy staying in my own age group playing these guys, like they're not horrible players. And every time you step on the court, they're like coming at you because
yeah,
like they
that's
know
a,
that if they lose, it's fine, so
yeah.
they have nothing to lose. I have everything to lose every single game,
Exactly every
so
time.
there's a lot of pressure. People don't understand that, especially parents too. I get a lot of comments from parents saying like, you should play up, and I was like, you don't really understand. And but anyway, talking about like these tournaments, did you ever have like a tournament ritual, like a routine you would do before a game?
Tournament ritual. I actually made my own tournament ritual. Last year, the 2021 nationals where I won. My tournament ritual is like, it's pretty long, but it's like a simplified version of it is that, I warm up. It's usually running. Um, After you like run for a bit and like until you're sweating, um, I would eat like a banana like immediately right after. And then after that, on court actually, my ritual is I jumped two times actually. I jumped two times and then I look
Uh,
up and then now I'm ready to go. But yeah, there's like the major parts of my ritual. Other parts are like using the restroom before my game, as well
mhm.
as like there's this one stretch in particular that I always do, which is basically it's just like sit and reach on the floor. And like I hold it for like 30 seconds every time. So like yeah.
Mhm.
Those are just like some big parts of the ritual. There's other minor parts, like then it'll be too long. But yeah, I think um it's like pretty crazy. Like it might sound crazy to have like a ritual, um I think it's like it kind of gives you like it makes you focused as well as you feel prepared in like every way possible. Like if you don't have a ritual, you might feel like off somewhere or like it just feels uncomfortable. But like if you like do your ritual every time, I just feel like I'm like ready to go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that feeling, I think.
Yeah. I feel like most players have a ritual, right? It makes you feel ready. And like for
Yeah.
me, I like you said, I would run 2 laps, right? Specifically 2 laps. Like I wouldn't run more, I wouldn't run less, 2 laps back and forth, right? And I do my different footworks, right? And then two more
Yeah.
laps back and forth. And I stop and I go drive, right? And I come back. And when I get on the court, before I start the game, I drink a sip of Gatorade and then a sip of water afterwards. And then I get ready, it's just like these things like just makes
Yeah.
you mentally ready too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's a lot of like little things that I do as well. But yeah.
Yeah. And we mentioned that you've been a champion basically your whole career so far, right? And going back to the topic of pressure, do you ever feel a lot of pressure on your shoulders when playing tournaments?
Um, I think before when I was like 13, 15, 14, 15, I definitely felt that pressure when I played tournaments. Like, uh, I think it's just that I didn't really know how to deal with it. Like, it's always there. Like, the pressure is always there. It's just mostly like how you think about that pressure. And like, if you can change your mindset about it, then like, you just like feel like it's not there. It's like before, I didn't really know what to do. It's like, it was really hard playing some games. Like, I'd sometimes like shake during the match, like if I was losing against someone that I shouldn't be losing against. But as like I got older, I just felt like um, I felt like I was able to like release that pressure, almost like the thing like the thought like you don't always have to be first. I think is like something that I came to realize. Also like how it's okay if you lose because like for me especially if you lose then you know what to do to get better, right? Like if you just keep on winning, like yes that's good and all, but I think you really want to lose sometimes. Like for me, I think like I need someone to like show me like what I'm bad at. I think and like that like I guess like that feeling like it pushes me to go and like improve on those things. Like for this year's PanAm example, I lost and even though I felt pretty bad after the loss, I felt like I know what I need to work on now. So like it'll make me better for like the future games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I honestly never had that much pressure now because I always just think of it as like um not like I always just think of others as equal to me, right? As well as like I'm confident in myself to play at my best ability. So if I can just like accomplish these two things, I'm always like the pressure is like not there for me anymore. Well, like
Mm-hmm.
it's there, but like it's like a lot less. Like I basically don't feel it.
Mm-hmm. And I love how you point that out. And it's such a simple ideology, right? That losing is a good thing and you actually can learn from it, right? And it's necessary to win in the future. That's a very simple ideology. But I know for a fact that 90% of junior badminton players do not understand that, right? Because Coach Lay, she used to own a gym, and I seen so many players come and go, and I've seen so many players from other clubs that completely cannot accept losing. And the second they lose, the first thing they think is, what did the coach do wrong, right? Or
Oh yeah,
I need to switch
yeah,
clubs. Okay, like
yeah,
yeah, this is what happens. Like 90% of players, that's the first thing they think about, right? It's not like, I need to work on this now. Like I'm too slow on my left side backhand defense, or I'm too slow on my turning. I need to work on this, and I need to go home and do that, right? That's not the first thing they think of. And I think that's a really big issue in junior badminton, where players need to learn to accept losing, right? Because without losing, you cannot learn, you cannot be better, next time, right? So it's actually a good thing. And players really need to get their head around that, to start really improving, their level. Right? Instead of thinking, let's just switch gyms and the other coach is better, that they're Ryan Ma is winning over there. Let's switch over there. I mean, of course, there's a reason why, players are good, the coach is good too. But most importantly, you also got to look within yourself first, right? If the coach
yeah,
actually has a problem, then yes, you got to move close. But always look within yourself and take it as a way to improve first upon yourself. It's something you can change, right?
Yeah,
And that's
I
really
think,
important.
yeah. And then one more thing is just like, I think a lot of players right now, they're like kind of scared of losing, I think. They feel like if they lose, then like they're letting down people, and like they're letting down, like, say like if you lose a doubles match, right?
Mhm.
Some players might feel like they're letting down their partner, or like feel like they're letting down like all the time and effort and like money their parents spent to like put them through training and all that. I think it's just like, if you're playing a sport, you're bound to lose, right? Like that's just like a known fact. And I think no matter how many times you lose, it honestly it doesn't um really matter, because like that's just part of the sport, right? Like
Mhm.
say like you lose like 10 times in a row, like what does that really like change about you? I think like what does that make you, like does that make you a loser now, or like no, I feel like it's just like your mindset around it. Like if you're like always losing, I think that's just that's just showing you that like you still have a lot of things to work on,
Mhm.
and like there's more room for improvement, right? And I think that like that's the good thing. Like it's not like if you win, like the short term like happiness is there, but like the long term I think is not there. I think like that's the difference. Because
Yeah.
like if you lose, then like long term you know what you need to do. And I think that like that's something that people just don't understand. And I think like everything comes with experience, in my opinion. Like you can say it how it is like right now, it's like really young players, but like they will never understand it. And I think like as they grow older, they'll slowly start to get it. And like when they do
Mhm.
get it, they'll realize, so that's what he's been saying. But like yeah, everything comes with time and experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's not even just this sport, not even just badminton. It's every sport, everything, and even in life, right? You know, you got to fail to get better at something and do it better next time, right? And it's just how it works, right? And people need to learn to accept that. And I love that we point that out. And also, I was wondering, has the drama that surrounds the badminton circle, because obviously there are, even though we don't say it publicly, between parents and players, you know, does it ever affect you in any way?
For me, I don't think it does. I think for other players who are like hearing that drama, it definitely does, because like they want to prove like so and so wrong, right? Or like they want to show them that like show a parent like they're not who they think they are. But for me, I've always just like focused on myself, and I don't really like, yes, people like comment about like me, like how like if I lose a game, like oh he's like falling off, or like that's his
Yeah.
weakness and stuff, right? But for me, I just think of it as just like, what do they know about me? Like, well, who are you to like judge what I'm good or what am I good or bad at, right? And I think like a lot of players need that mentality of like, others, yes, they can make comments about you, like, but that's their opinion, right? In the end, um, you have full control over what you can do, and like what you will be able to do. So I think it's just understanding that like you are in control and like they're not.
Yeah.
So, and like just focus on yourself, right? Just like really
Yeah.
just like don't care, I think.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes like people don't even realize that we hear these things. Like
But
they
they
would say, like it gets to our ears, guys. It gets to our ears. We hear everything, and we know. So the next time, you know, we see your kid, it's not gonna be a good day for them. Anyway, besides, let's move on from that. Let's move on from that. So what are your goals for the next year that's coming up?
next year. So I think short term, I really want to do well at Worlds. Like I want to make at least top 16. I think
Mm.
I know it's like really hard, especially because it's Worlds, and you have to train a lot for it, even just to make top 16. So, but like, that's one of my goals. And then for next year, especially, I want to just um like get all this like college stuff done first, and then I want to just like try like traveling around and like playing international. Um, like that's always been one of my goals from the start, is to like go out there and play against those Asian players as well as play against those European players, and just like see where I would like rank amongst them. So like that's basically most of my goals for next year. And then the most important part is just like to get points so that I can like play in like bigger and bigger tournaments,
Mhm.
um like super 750s or like super 500s,
Mhm.
maybe even super 1000 if I get to that level. But yeah, I just want to experience more, I think.
Yeah.
playing that.
And how are you like? Because you said you want to make it to the top 16 for World Juniors. How are you gonna prepare for that?
I think it's mostly for me right now. It's a lot on physical training. So like I'll probably just do a lot of physical stuff from now until then. Like probably running like almost every other day at least, I think.
Mhm.
And like even if I start to get busy during the school year, I'll at least try to go to the gym. I think like at least 3 times a week in
Mhm.
like my off days where I'm not running. So I think
Yeah,
yeah, for me especially it's just physical training that I need to work on. Everything
I
else,
see.
like I feel like as much as how important skill is, I don't think like when you're reaching like the top level, it's mostly like whoever has the better physical and like better patience, I think, in
Mhm.
the rally. Like whoever can like outlast the other person and like wait for the opportunity, that's the person who will always usually win, no matter how
Mhm.
good or how bad their skill is. Because like skill maybe is just like like a little advantage during the rally, like say like you do like a sudden trick shot or like a sudden fake, like that gives you an opportunity. But in the end, like if you have really good physical, then you can always just recover from that and like you can last longer. So yeah.
Nice. It's actually really interesting to hear your opinion on that because I actually like have my own opinion on it, and I disagree from your take on the skills and physical. That's only because I train a different way, right? And the way I train, we focus a lot on skill, and our thoughts always are like physical wise, and we can just discuss this, but physical wise we feel like every player by the time you're like at that professional level, everybody's roughly like the same, like everybody's fit, right? And they can run, they have endurance, and everybody practicing long rallies, right? And what we
Yeah.
believe is that in the end the small techniques, the things that will get you past the finish line will be the small techniques that helps you give you that advantage, because the bird is always going to fly faster than you can run, right? And that's why we think like that like skills and technique would
Mhm.
actually push you over the finish line. So just a little difference, but
Yeah.
everybody has their own opinions on that, and
Yeah.
totally respect what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I think
And
it like yeah, it's like
no, go ahead.
for me specifically, I think it's that my skill would be like up here, I guess, and then like my physical like down here. So like
Need
for
some
me
improvement.
specifically, I had to like bring both up. Like
I see.
for some people, obviously it's like the flip, like their physical is like really good, but like, they
Mhm.
don't have that skill.
Yeah,
So like, and like I've always thought of it as like if you can't get to the bird, then like how are you gonna use the skill, right? It's
yeah,
like your physical has to come first. And always in my opinion, I think now that I've like played this year's PanAm as well as like this year's JN, I think physical should always come first before anything.
I see. Great. And both are really important. I do want to say that to the people who are watching. Both are really important. Work on both, guys. Don't just
Yeah.
don't just kill yourself on one. It's not gonna work well. All right. And last question for you. What are your long-term goals for badminton? Like, I know you said you want to play like international tournaments, but what is your like last like thing that you want to do? Like the most important thing?
Most important thing. So I think for me, I'm just like I really want to experience things in life. Like you only get one shot at this anyways. So I think my goal is to get into the Olympics at least one time. So either 2024 or 2028. But I just want to play in it one time. Just like because like the Olympics is like the biggest stage, right? So
Hmm.
I just want to get that. I want to have that experience in
I
my life.
see.
So like that's my goal. The other long-term goal is to just like play at worlds, like world championships. So
I
yeah,
see.
because like for me, I think that I just like really like playing badminton. So I just want to have like these experiences going against top players from other countries, and I think it'll be like really fun. Even if I lose, which will probably happen because like all these Asian players are so good these days.
Hmm.
But I just want to see how it is to how does it feel like to play at like the highest stage possible.
That's a really good goal, man. And I'm super happy for you. And you know what? I just realized while I was giving the introduction today about smash bars, that you would actually fit, for next year, because you're graduating next year for high school. So by the time that you graduate, you can apply for the scholarship, and then that will help you with your travels for playing these international tournaments. Because I think our like at Smash Bars, our one of our biggest goals is to promote badminton and actually have like eventually have an athlete that can win a medal in the Olympics, and that would be super amazing to watch. And if it's you, then that would be amazing, and we can't wait to watch you. play on the international stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be all the questions I have for Ryan. And make sure you guys click the like button and the subscribe button down below. The next video will be on the viewers' questions, so make sure you check that out. And also make sure to join the Facebook group if you're interested in our Smash Bar. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next time.